South America. Recently mined copper flows from the ports on the Rio de la Plata near Buenos Aires to copper markets around the world. Following this copper trail up from the port of Rosario, where it was loaded on ships, we find that it was transported to the coast via rail, and before that via pipeline from its sources in the remote hills of northwest Argentina. It flows from the Alumbrera copper and gold mine, one of the richest copper and gold deposits in the world, and one of the world's lowest cost producers of copper. Built in 1997 for $1.3 billion, it has operated with complete on-site mining, processing, and transportation facilities for the past 8 years, and it will continue for at least another 8 to 10. This year alone, Alumbrera should produce nearly 400 million pounds of copper and 600,000 ounces of gold, worth an estimated $660 million. Alumbrera is a shining star in the mining industry. It produces copper at an extremely low cash cost, with the associated gold paying for the cost of copper production. It's easy to see why Alumbrera has become extremely profitable. Although the mine has operated continuously since 1997, there is a lot of metal left to extract at Alumbrera. The latest reserve estimates at December 30th, 2005 show the mine has at least 3.8 billion pounds of copper and 6 million ounces of gold in the ground. Exploration and higher metal prices may help expand these reserves in the future. Northern Orion Resources bought 12.5% of the Alumbrera mine in June of 2003. Their interest in the project has generated $23.6 million in 2003, $58.2 million in 2004, and $75.5 million in 2005. At current metal prices, Alumbrera is expected to bring Northern Orion about $45 million per year over the next 8 to 10 years. The copper market has turned red hot. So far in 2005, prices have remained high as worldwide demand grows and copper stockpiles dwindle. The biggest factor in this demand surge is China, which now consumes almost 30% of the world's copper supply. 34 kilometers upland and east of Alumbrera lies Agua Rica, yet another of the world's richest copper-gold deposits. Until 2003, Northern Orion owned 28% of Agua Rica, and the project was operated as a joint venture with BHP Billiton. In May of 2003, Northern Orion purchased BHP Billiton's remaining 72% interest for $12.6 million. Since the late 1800s, the mineral-rich area around Agua Rica has attracted miners and prospectors. More detailed and modern exploration occurred here in the 1970s, but the major potential of the area was overlooked. Northern Orion and BHP Billiton conducted their first systematic exploration of the property during the mid-1990s. With copper prices then at historically high levels, the partners proceeded with a wide range of geochemical and geophysical studies. As this information was combined with surface sampling, aerial photography, and metallurgical testing, the huge Agua Rica deposit took shape with great promise for the future. This work led to the completion of an initial feasibility study in 1997, when BHP and Northern Orion concluded that the deposit could be mined economically. Agua Rica contains an estimated 21.8 billion pounds of copper, 13.3 million ounces of gold, and 1.7 billion pounds of molybdenum. It could produce 150,000 tons of copper annually for at least 30 years, generate substantial cash flow for Northern Orion, and provide hundreds of good-paying jobs for the surrounding communities. Agua Rica's estimated rock value makes it one of the world's most valuable copper-gold deposits per ton of ore known today. Over the 8-year span that Agua Rica was developed, Northern Orion and BHP Billiton spent more than $55 million to define the deposit's resource and complete pre-development studies. This work has largely mitigated the geological, construction, and operation risks of the project. Agua Rica is now advanced to the point where Northern Orion could bring it into commercial production within 4 years, and for substantially less than any comparable development. The Agua Rica resource sits mostly on or near the surface, and it can be mined using very cost-effective open-pit methods. Engineering conducted in the 1990s identified 3 primary deposits, all combining to form an elongated mineralized zone 2.75 kilometers long and 2.5 kilometers wide. Northern Orion's plan is to mine these zones one at a time. The actual mining plan is yet to be finalized and will depend largely upon current engineering studies and metal prices at the time of extraction. Exploration and development at Agua Rica also left considerable potential for expansion of the deposit. It remains open at depth and also on 2 sides. Future work will include drilling of these areas to determine the grade and extent of the unexplored ground. Several different mine scenarios are being studied, with one primary option now receiving the most consideration. The plan is to construct a world-scale 90,000-ton-per-day mine and processing facility that would produce approximately 150,000 tons of copper annually, along with associated gold and molybdenum byproducts. Feasibility study with Hatch Associates on the construction and operation of this scenario is scheduled to be completed in mid-2006. A selection of a syndicate of debt financing banks has been chosen to work in parallel with the feasibility study in order to develop a project financing facility that includes commercial debt, export credit finance, and multilateral agencies. With over $140 million US in cash and ongoing cash flow from Alumbrera, it is expected that Northern Orion will have the ability to finance the required equity internally. Northern Orion plans to ship Agua Rica's ore via a specially designed 7-kilometer conveyor belt system, which will run underground. The conveyor system will transport the ore to the newly built processing facility at Minas Capellitas. A key part of the Agua Rica development plan is a commitment to safeguard the environment at every stage of the mining cycle. Strict environmental protection measures are already in place at Alumbrera, and Northern Orion has incorporated the same modern safety and reclamation measures in its design for Agua Rica. The processed ore is then shipped via pipeline to the filtration plant, planned to be built just south of Andalgalá. Here, the processed ore is stripped of excess water and is loaded onto a train to be shipped to the market. While Northern Orion maintains its commitment to shareholder value, equally important commitments are to ensure that local communities share in the prosperity of both Agua Rica and Alumbrera, and that the company's operations impact the environment as little as possible. Northern Orion is working with surrounding communities to improve their standards of living, both through the provincial royalties and proposed community trusts. The company is training teachers, promoting environmental awareness, and contributing to local infrastructure projects. In short, Northern Orion's successes will be the community's successes. We at Northern Orion are very excited about the future prospects for our company. More importantly, though, we are thrilled by the way everyone benefits through Northern Orion's success: our shareholders, our employees, and the communities that sustain our operations. Our future looks very bright indeed.